You are welcome to the Messiah channel. We are an end time channel. Today we are dedicating our message to principalities and powers and the assignment that they have in the end times. If you read Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, Apostle Paul said, we do not wrestle against principalities and powers, but against we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities and powers. And we also wrestle against spiritual wickedness in high places. And today we are focusing our discussion on the principalities and the powers. And I introduced this book to you. The title of the book is Secrets of the Dark Kingdom, the Battle for the Planet Earth. And the author of this book has done a lot of work, research, and identifying the principalities and the powers. The principalities and the powers, they have their assignments for the end of days. And because of time, I'm going to devote our discussion to one of the powers. We have principalities, 4 of them, and we have powers, 8 of them. The principalities are higher up, and the powers are below. And we have 8 powers that operate in the dark kingdom. And we are going to focus on only one of the 8 powers, ASHTAROTH. ASHTAROTH is one of the powers under Satan in the dark kingdom. And these powers have their spiritual assignments in the dark kingdom, and they are preparing the world for the end of days. If you're talking about principalities like Mammon, is a principality for money, and is directing people's attention to money and material wealth in this world to deceive them and to take them to hell. If you're talking about Magog is a demonic principality, and Magog is interested in creating wars over the world. Wars will lead to destruction, and it will also lead to confusion. And the prophecy is saying that in the last days there will be wars and rumors of wars, and those wars will be staged with the help of these principalities and powers. And we are focusing on the powers, 8 of them, and we are only talking about ASHTAROTH, one of the powers in the dark kingdom. In the dark kingdoms, or in the dark kingdom, the principalities and the powers, they have different names given to them. And so we are going to look at ASHTAROTH, one of the powers in the dark kingdom, and she has so many names, 10 of them. So we are going over the names of ASHTAROTH, one of the principalities and the powers of Satan. Okay, ASHTAROTH, like Satan and the other demonic angels, has copied God. They like to work by covenant. So ASHTAROTH works by covenant. And she has so many names. Number 1, Diana. She goes by Diana. Diana is the prostitute goddess of the Ephesians. And so when Apostle Paul was talking about principalities and powers, Apostle Paul was talking about ASHTAROTH. And ASHTAROTH has another name, Diana, and Diana is the prostitute goddess of the Ephesians. And so Paul was talking to the Ephesians and said, we do not wrestle with principalities. We do not wrestle with flesh and blood. We wrestle with principalities and powers. And so Diana is one of the powers, and her real name is ASHTAROTH. And in Ephesus, she is known as Diana. Number 2, Venus. ASHTAROTH also goes by the name Venus, and Venus is the goddess of love. In the end times, people are talking about love, 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 love. And whether they're talking about love between a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, whether they're talking about love between a man and a beast, or whether you're talking about love between a grown-up man and a young boy, a young girl, is love. It is love. And Venus is the goddess of love. So ASHTAROTH is also known as Venus and is the goddess of life, of love. ASHTAROTH is also known as Rhea, the Olympian mother of gods. So in the Dark Kingdom, we have gods, and there is somebody who is considered as the mother of the gods, and that person is ASHTAROTH. So she is also known as Rhea, and Rhea is the Olympian mother of gods. Number 4, ASHTAROTH is also known as Isis, I-C-I-S-I, the moon goddess of India. And so if you go to India, there's a moon goddess known as I-C-I-S-I, and the same moon goddess is what in the Dark Kingdom they refer to as ASHTAROTH. Number 5, ASHTAROTH is also known as Isis, I-S-I-S. So we have I-S-I, the moon goddess of India, and then we also have I-S-I-S. I-S-I-S, Isis. Isis is worshipped by the Egyptians as the goddess of fertility. She's also associated with the secret societies of the Freemasons and Rosicrucians. So in the Dark Kingdom, we have Isis, and Isis is worshipped by the Freemasons and Rosicrucians. And if you look at the Statue of Liberty, I did a video on that. The Statue of Liberty is located in New York Harbor, and that statue was commissioned by the Freemasons. And you have to remember that the Freemasons worship Isis, I-S-I-S, is the Egyptian goddess of fertility. So the Statue of Liberty, donated by the Freemasons, commissioned by the Freemasons, is associated with Isis, a god or a goddess, Egyptian goddess of fertility, and the name is ASHTAROTH. ASHTAROTH is one of the powers operating in the Dark Kingdom. ASHTAROTH is also known as Sheng Mao, and is the mother of China. And so China has a mother, the mother of China, Sheng Mao, the mother of China. So ASHTAROTH is known by different symbols. ASHTAROTH is called by different names, and in China she is called Xin Mao, the mother of China. You remember Chairman Mao, the former leader of China, and Xin Mao means the mother of China. So Ashtaroth, a power operating in the Dark Kingdom, is called Xin Mao in China. Aren. Ashtaroth is also known as Aren, I-R-E-N-E, Aren, the goddess of peace in Greece. So if you go to Greece, there's a goddess of peace. She is worshipped as the goddess of peace, and the name is Aren. So Ashtaroth is also known as Aren, the goddess of peace in Greece. Ashtaroth is also known as the Holy Mother or Mother of God. So in the Dark Kingdom, there's a demon, there is a power worshipped as the Holy Mother or the Mother of God. Sorry to say that, because it's a blasphemy to say God has a mother. In the Dark Kingdom, they believe that God has a mother, and she is the Holy Mother or the Mother of God. And she is worshipped and he's also prayed to. People worship her rather. They also pray to her, and the Roman Catholics do that. So Ashtaroth is the same power called Holy Mother or the Mother of God, who is worshipped by the Roman Catholics. Ashtaroth is also known in other parts of the Dark Kingdom as Madonna. Madonna is worshipped in the art world. In the art world, in the entertainment world, when you hear about Madonna, is one of the powers in the Dark Kingdom, and we're talking about Ashtaroth. The last but not the least, the Ashtaroth, who is one of the 8 powers in the world, is also known as the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven, Ashtaroth. So this is the information about the powers in the Dark Kingdom. There are 8 of them, and we talk about only one of them, Ashtaroth, who goes by so many names, and they have different names for her. Some people call her the Queen of Heaven. Some people call her the Mother of God or the Holy Mother. The Freemasons and Rosicrucians call her Isis, I-S-I-S. And I believe that she is associated with the Statue of Liberty, which is installed in New York Harbor. And it is not only a monument of freedom and liberty, it also has symbolic and occultic significance in the United States. And it is no wonder that in 1966, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that you cannot mention the Lord's Prayer, you cannot say God's name in the Lord's Prayer in public schools in the United States. And this case arose when an atheist sued New York public authorities for allowing children to say the Lord's Prayer in public schools mentioning God's name. The case went to the Supreme Court of the United States, and so in 1966, the Supreme Court ruled that you cannot mention the name of God in public schools in the whole United States. Remember that case, Angel versus Vitale, started in New York, and it is in New York City, specifically the harbor of New York City, where the Statue of Liberty is installed. The Statue of Liberty was donated to the American people by the government of France, and it was installed at New York Harbor, New York City Harbor, after a ceremony, a celebration by the Freemasons. And according to this presentation, the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians, they worship a goddess called Isis, I-S-I-S, and that Isis is the same as ASHTAROTH. And ASHTAROTH is one of the powers ruling in the Dark Kingdom. And St. Paul said that we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but we wrestle with principalities and powers. And at the time when Paul was making that revelation in Ephesus, there was a goddess called Diana, and Diana is an Ephesian goddess, and the same god referred to, a goddess who is referred to as Ashtaroth, and Ashtaroth is one of the powers ruling in the Dark Kingdom, and you can get the information from a book, Secrets of the Dark Kingdom, The Battle for Planet Earth. The author is J.P. Timmons. The principalities and the powers have assignments in the end times. Mammon is a principality dealing with money and is twisting people's mind for them to follow money and material wealth. Baal is a false god, is a god of religion. It's forcing people to worship different gods, and is bringing the one world religion. That will be the religion of the Antichrist. And Magog is the power responsible for wars and destruction. And below them we have the powers, 8 of them. And as I said, Ashtaroth is one of the powers, and she goes by different names, and we have mentioned the different names by which Ashtaroth goes by. So beware of the principalities and powers. We do not wrestle with flesh and blood. We wrestle with the principalities and powers, including Ashtaroth, as they are implementing their plans and executing their assignments in the end of days, as the kingdom of darkness is about to be destroyed, as the kingdom of the Messiah is about to take over the kingdom of darkness, as prophesied in Daniel chapter 2 verse 44. Thank you for this message.